loves Percy is the vibe here. Hi everyone, I'm back with another video, and in this video I wanted to talk about Percy Jackson in general. For those of you who don't know me, or like people in general who don't know who Percy Jackson is, this is a mix of both. I'm gonna talk about why I love Percy Jackson and what Percy Jackson as a book and character means to me, and I'll also discuss my thoughts on the Percy Jackson Disney series. And yeah, it's generally me, yapping about Percy Jackson in this whole video. I would love to do that every day, like in every video. Yeah. Anyways, so those who are, unaware of Percy Jackson, let me introduce you to him. Sorry, him to you. So this is Percy Jackson. Of course, he's a fictional character. We don't have his original image. This is who plays as Percy Jackson in the Disney series. In the books, like the first 5 books, right, they have Percy starting at the age of 11, and it's a coming of age young adult story which is mostly aimed at middle school children, and I read it when I was 17. So yeah, it was actually not age appropriate, I guess, but still I found it so good, so funny, that I had to read the next book and then the next one. And I actually ended up reading the 4th and the 5th book in 2 consecutive days. I finished the 4th and 5th book, that is the Battle of Labyrinth and the Last Olympian. Yeah. Percy Jackson is a middle school fictional character who's very sarcastic. He's a demigod, and his father is Poseidon. His whole story is based on Greek mythology, and we have all the Greek gods: Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, and Hera, Hecate, Athena, and all those guys. We have this camp Half-Blood, which is like a safe haven for all the demigods. It's very hard to be a demigod. It would be a miracle if you even survive your childhood and become an adult, when you're like less susceptible to monster attacks. So this is the premise. You have Percy, who's just awesome. Like he's sarcastic, he's loyal, he loves to be good son to his mom. He has a lot of good morals. Like he's brought up very good. He's the friend like you can take anywhere. If you feel like there's gonna be danger, you can take Percy. Especially he'll try to do everything in his power to save you. He's always the good guy, and in a non-irritable, likable way. There are a lot of main characters who's like, I need to do this for everybody, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for everyone, I'm gonna stop you from killing the villain because it's not a good thing. Like that's the majority of the characters who like are good guys, and we don't end up liking them at all. We find them annoying in most cases. But Percy Jackson is like a reverse scenario where he is very good, but he still kills monsters. Like it's his it's his life, and he's still like just our baby for all the fandom. It's Percy, come on guys, everybody loves Percy is the vibe here. So yeah, from another fandom, if you're new here, you might find it like everybody loves your main character. That might be a new thing, because I've seen a lot of memes on that, even Reddit post or something, like how Percy Jackson fandom is the only fandom or the book series where it's okay to have the main character itself as your favorite character. Like everybody just loves Percy, everybody who reads Percy Jackson series loves him. So that's the vibe here. So I'm just gonna say that he's just the perfect main character. If you're a writer like me, you would wanna if you want to have a likable main character, go for someone like Percy. Don't copy Percy because he's iconic and nobody else can be Percy. And I also saw this other reel another day, like about how men written by women are better than men written by men, right? And then most of the comments were like how Rick Riordan is an exception, how Percy Jackson is an exception, and I totally agree with it. It's like the honest thing I've ever come across, and it's so true. It's goddamn true. Like yeah, Percy is just awesome. You have to read it to know it. Now I'll tell you why Percy Jackson is very important to me. So a little introduction about myself. During my school days, I didn't have money to buy books. My mom would rather buy me encyclopedia and knowledge resource books rather than fiction. And I would have to beg her for even 50 rupees to buy book, which I'll be saving up 50 plus 50, and that I can get a whole 100 rupees when the book fair comes around. So that was the scenario. I wasn't able to buy books at all. So during that school time, I only got books from libraries. I borrowed books from classmates and friends, and that was how I read during my school days. But I still loved reading, and library time was like my favorite time of school years. And I would love to borrow books and read, and it was all great. I mean, like during the end of the school years, I was very focused on studies. I gave up on reading like for 2 or 3 years. And then back when I was at college, I was like, I didn't even feel like reading anymore, and I think I would have totally given up on reading on a whole. But then out of nowhere comes the savior Percy Jackson. This is an interesting point. People hate Percy Jackson movies because of how inaccurate and how idiotic those movies were. But actually those movies were the reason I knew about the books, and I'm grateful for that. I have seen one scene of the movie somewhere, and I googled it and I found the movie and I actually watched it, and I was like, when I was googling about the movie, I was like, okay, this movie is based on a book. Oh, okay, what is that book? And that's how I ended up finding about Percy Jackson in like my first year of college, around the age of 17, and I read it immediately, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome, I'm gonna keep reading it. And I ended up finishing all the 5 books, and I fell in love with Percy Jackson. Not like love, okay. Another thing, everybody wants to have a boyfriend like Percy, but Percy is like my best friend, or like my brother. I would love to have if I have a chance to bring a fictional character into my life as a brother or as my friend, that would be Percy, because he's loyal to the end. Why wouldn't I want someone so funny and sarcastic and affectionate and loyal as my brother or as my best friend? Yeah, I never developed romantic feelings for him. I don't know, if you're someone who's not from the reading world, you might find all this weird and like, what is she even talking about? But yeah, that's how it is for all the readers out here. So the readers will understand, and for others I might seem like a crazy person. Percy is like what to say, yeah, like I said, I didn't have any romantic feelings for him. I always saw him as a kid, like someone very kiddish and funny, and then I grew up. I just see him now as a little brother I would love to have. Percy Jackson books like saved my reading life, and after saving my reading life, I slowly got back into writing, and now I am here. So I owe it all to Percy Jackson books, of course. And Uncle Rick Riordan, who I don't think good for me to call uncle anymore because I'm getting older. So we'll just stick to Rick Riordan. Yeah, he's just like the perfect author, right? He has zero controversies. He loves his character so much. He's adored by the whole fandom because of how great his storylines are. It's just very good thing to have someone like him as the author of your favorite book. He's also very mindful when it comes to writing characters with diversity. And also there are books with which comes with gods from different religions, and I'd love to show my respect for that here. Not every day you get the you get to represent a lot of cultures in publishing industry, I guess. And to have someone mainstream like Rick Riordan to get into a lot of culture is something I really appreciate. And of course, I'd love to thank him for an eternity for giving us Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson literally inspires a lot of people to be better. He's always gonna be better and inspire us to be better without calling us out like, how long are you gonna be like this is the better way. Like the main characters are like that, right? They will, at some point in the book, they will be talking to us to be the better person. But Percy is not like that. He just leads the people into being a better person, and we are also led in the story. And like, I'm always going to be thankful to Rick Riordan for that, of course. Next, I want to discuss about Percy Jackson and the Chalice of Gods by Rick Riordan. And if you are unaware of the book, it's Percy's quest to get recommendation letters from the Greek gods. He needs to get 3 recommendation letters, so there will be 3 quests. And Chalice of Gods is like the first quest, just the usual Greek quest where you're like almost always get threatened with death from gods. Like, that's the vibe here. But like, for some reason people didn't find it good enough. They were like, Rick Riordan has lost his touch or something, and then they were also like, Percy's like not the usual somehow. I don't know, many people were complaining. And I have a personal opinion, which is like, I didn't mind the book. I didn't feel that way at all. Like, I loved the book so much. I was able to laugh again. I was able to happily enjoy the reading experience like I used to. I was very happy to see that Percy is all grown up now, and has this great friendship with Grover. They are the best friends. They have their own bonding, and he's in love with Annabeth, and like, their relationship has like matured so much. They're both in love with each other, and that getting to see them grow all together, like not old, but they're like old enough, and even that's a theme here. Okay, I don't want to give any spoilers. The book was great. I might even make a shorts on lines from the book that made me laugh so much and lines that made me smile happily. So yeah, I really did like the book, and there's the next book which is coming out. Next book in this quest for recommendation letter for Percy is like The Wrath of the Triple Goddess, and I'm too excited again, of course. Like, it's not your usual huge quest journey that you find in Percy Jackson books. This is just a small quest which happens over a couple of days, not on the same level when you compare the everything that's going on in the book, when you compare the way the story is progressing. And like, yeah, I get that it's very simple, but that's how it's supposed to be. Not every quest has to be a quest with prophecies and all sort of big stuff. There can be small usual quests as well, right? Like, this is Greek world, come on. Like, they have to have such things like tasks with smaller difficulty levels or something, and I find it very good enough for me. I was happy, like I said, I was very engaged in reading it. I thoroughly enjoyed the whole reading experience, if you ask me. There are many people out there who didn't find it good enough for some reason. Anyways, if you want to read the book, do check out the link in the description, and if you want to buy it, do buy it. With that out of the way, now my thoughts about the Disney Plus Percy Jackson series. I will tell you the truth. First, like, for the first 3 episodes, I was like, especially the first 2 episodes, I was like, this is not it. Like, something going on here. Like, it's not the thing I expected for some reason. I didn't feel good enough about the series for some reason. Actors were like, for some reason, I didn't feel they are good at it. As the episodes progressed, I'll accept it. Okay, I was wrong. Since I have read the book, I at least have some idea what's going on there. I'll tell you the truth. I don't remember what actually happens in the first 5 books actually. Actually, I don't remember the majority of the book events. I only remember the important parts, like how in Mark of Athena, like both Percy and Annabeth fall into Tartarus, and first scene about Percy and Annabeth, and that scene which is so wonderfully written. And I remember a scene where Nico hears about Bianca's death, and Thalia and Percy's argument before Annabeth is kidnapped, and the Cyclops scene, of course, in Sea of Monsters, and the betrayal in the first book, Luke Castellan, and the underwater kiss. How did I forget that? It was iconic. Yeah, like, I only remember the snippets from the book, right? And especially because of that, I know the whole vibe and how it is gonna progress. I know certain things, but even with that, I didn't feel comfortable at all. I was like constantly wondering, why didn't they just take it slow? Like, everything is like taking from one scene to another. I don't feel connected at all. Everything is like mashed up for some reason. Like, everything seems like all over the place. And I was wondering, how would someone who haven't read the book would feel about this. And after we progressed to like the 4th episode, I was totally wrong. Like, everything started to make sense. I just needed to have some patience, and I was actually happy about the choice of casting, and everything was good enough in the series. I'll agree with that. And now I actually miss the series so much. Like, with the finale airing yesterday, I don't know how long we're gonna wait. There's no official news about the renewal of the series, and I'm very anxious that we won't get to see another season or something. Like, no, we will get to see lots of season where we'll get to see all our lovable characters. We want to see everyone. We want to see Nico, of course, Leo, and like, there's a lot of people we want to see. I want to see everyone. I want to see the whole story come to an end. Like, I want to be happy. I want to, enjoy how I enjoyed this first season of the Percy Jackson series. There are, of course, people out there who don't agree with this opinion as well. There are people who don't like it. There are people who don't like the way they cast it. I had disagreements with the series. I did have disagreements with what was going on in terms of casting, or like in terms of how they actually structured the stories in the first few episodes. I had so many issues with the series, but I stuck through it knowing that there will be something really worth, because actually Rick Riordan was involved there, and I actually found it. So you don't have to completely agree with something to watch the series and support it. You can just watch the series and see the efficient things that was done there and enjoy those things, and then criticize the things you don't like. You don't actually have to hate on it completely. At least they had made an honest effort when it comes to the book series, especially like they didn't want to take everything in their own hand and change the whole story. They just added adjustments to the story which they felt was right. So it was in no way a disrespect to the book in any way, like, or the characters. So there were changes which some of us can't accept. There were changes which some of us don't feel good about, but that doesn't mean the whole effort wasn't sincere like the movies. Actually, there are people who are out there who are defending the movies for some reason. I don't know why, but for some reason they are. This is the whole, the Percy Jackson video, where I wanted to discuss how important Percy Jackson is and why I love him, and my thoughts on Chalice of Gods and also the series. I'm honestly waiting for the second season and the next and the next. I will always love Percy Jackson. I know that, like, the Percy Jackson book series, like the first 5 book, my favorite book series ever. There's nothing ever that's gonna top that ever. Even the Ember and the Ashes is like my second favorite, because simply I don't want to give up the first place to any of the books. Yeah, and I don't even have to say it at this point, but I'll say it. Percy Jackson is gonna be my favorite fictional character, and for this life and the next maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna love the character so much, I'm gonna adore the character so much, and I'm gonna keep talking about how much I love him so much. There's nothing that's gonna stop me, I guess. And at this point I can only say this, like, if you haven't read those books, it might seem a little middle school for you. If you can see past it and read it somehow, you might actually find a great story there and lovable characters there. Just because I'm watching the Disney series doesn't mean I'm supporting Disney. And of course, say that I stand with Palestine. I want to say that it's already too late to call ceasefire, so they need to do it. They need to call ceasefire, and they need to stop the genocide. They need to stop killing people in the name of whatever. Don't even get me started on that, because, like, don't kill people. It's as simple as that. No matter what any religion says, it's not at all fair for anyone to kill anyone else. And if gods are out there, I don't think they would want you to kill anyone in their name, or like they would want you to kill anyone at all. So just think about it for once. Like, before doing other people harm, do you really think that, especially in the name of God or gods you believe is the good thing that you can do? You can actually help people, in case you forgot. So with that said, this video is done. Hopefully we all get a second season and we all get to see so much more that comes with the story. I am hoping for that. And with that, bye, I guess, and we'll meet in another video. Until then, live through stories.